When I was younger, writing was how I expressed myself. I was going through, or maybe I was witnessing certain things that, like, I didn't necessarily know what was going on, but I knew that it was wrong. And I knew it hurt me. It scared me as a child, and it was regarding my parents. And I remember being very young and I wrote a letter to my mom expressing, how I felt. I feel like that moment started a ricochet in my life and started a certain narrative that I believed and I told myself because when I, got all my feelings out in that letter, um, it wasn't really like accepted or reciprocated. And now being an adult, I forgive my mom, I forgive my parents, and I have more understanding of the choices that they made and their reactions that they had. But yeah, ever since I could remember, and unfortunately, it started from like kind of like a unfortunate situation. I always wrote like that's how I express myself.
Hello, welcome to Healing Convos with Jess, where I bring on amazing people in the world who are doing great things. We get to know them. I ask them to bring something that they're passionate about. What is on their hearts that they just want to share to the world, something that they usually probably have always been passionate about and kind of, presenting it so we can learn. And then also I like to end with looking at their astrology because I am an astrologer. And I like to just see how their astrology connects to their life path and their interests and all the things. So today we have a very special guest, very, very special guest. She was with me through the start of building Healthy Girl Healing, which was before Healthy People Healing. Let's start off with you just introducing yourself. Pretty much say like where you're from, like what do
Mhm.
you do, and then yeah, then I'll ask you some more questions.
Okay, so my name is Faith. I am a 30-year-old woman born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Um, yeah, so that's me. I'm a poet, a writer, a proofreader, a tutor. Um, Pretty much anything having to do with words, I'm in it. So, yeah, that's me.
Love, love. Okay, Faith. So just like last time, I don't even know if you remember, and you know how this goes. I like to go down memory lane a little bit. And I know you kind of explained it last time, but you haven't explained it to this in this space. And I don't know, maybe it'll be a little bit, maybe some things may stick out. So I want you to take us down. We're gonna meet Faith as a kid, okay, and then we're gonna meet Faith as an adolescent, and then as an adult, and just take us through those stages and what they have to say.
Okay, so as a child, I was very quiet. Um, Yeah, I was just very quiet. Of course, I had friends, but I was always the quiet one. I've always been the quiet one out of the group. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much me as a child. Like I don't really have too many like memories. Of course, I have um, you know, um memories that were not so great. But I also have a lot of great memories, growing up, just being in a neighborhood with friends and a lot of the people, well, some people I'm still friends with to this day. So yeah, I would say that I was a quiet girl, but like once you got to know me, you saw the goofy side. I was never um I was never the kid, like say we're at a park, I was never the kid that would go to a group of kids and ask to play with them or start playing with them. I was always by my dad or my parents, and I would wait for kids to come up to me and ask if I could play. I was shy. As a teenager,
Oh wait, I do have a question. What did
yeah.
you like to do like as a kid? What were your interests?
Ooh. It's funny because as a kid, I liked to write. Like I was one of those girls who had mad journals. I had so many. I had the electric journal that had the passcode in it. I had the journal that had the little lock on it that you had the keys that you put into the um little lock box or whatever it's called. And then of course I just had the regular journals. But as a kid I loved to write. I loved to draw a little bit. I'm not the best, but I liked to draw. And I liked being around my friends. Yeah.
Hmm. So, other questions. I just feel I want to dive a little bit more. So, one, did you ever get your journals found? Like, I feel like because I didn't, you hear or you see in movies, at least for me, of like women or girls who had their diaries and stuff like that. So that I love that you were like one of those girls because I would look at that in movies and be like, oh, that's so cute, but then never committed to doing it. Um, so yeah, did someone ever like look at your journal and like see certain things in there? And also I kind of want to know what you wrote in it. Was it like, "Oh, Johnny, today I looked at me like this," or something like that? Two, and then three, where did the whole poetry, like, where did that even, I mean, the writing, like, what, was there anything that sparked that for you?
Yeah, so I'll start with that question because it starts at the beginning. When I was younger, um, writing was how I expressed myself. When I was younger, I was going through, or maybe I was witnessing certain things that, like, I didn't necessarily know what was going on, but I knew that it was wrong. And I knew it hurt me. It scared me as a child, And it was regarding my parents. And I remember being very young and I wrote a letter to my mom, um, expressing, how I felt. And I feel like that moment started a ricochet in my life and started a certain narrative that I believed and I told myself because when I, got all my feelings out in that letter, um, it wasn't really like accepted or reciprocated, and now being an adult, I forgive my mom, I forgive my parents, and I have more understanding of the choices that they made and their reactions that they had. But yeah, ever since I could remember, and unfortunately, it started from like kind of like a unfortunate situation. I always wrote like that's how I express myself. Um, and what was the other question?
Um,
Other two.
did you ever get like your whatever you wrote like caught? And then like what did you write in it? Like yeah, what kind of things did you
Yeah.
write?
Of course, boys.
Oh, okay.
Of course, about boys, just feelings. Just
Feeling.
feelings, just about little crushes
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And yeah, um, funny story. Um, my mom found out I had lost my virginity because she read my journal.
Oh,
Yes.
tea! That
Yes.
is tea.
And
What?
it yes. And something and this tells me that she was probably like reading it the whole time because like as soon as I wrote it, like the next day or like soon after, she was like, "Okay, we're going to the gynecologist, you got to be put on birth control, like all that." I was a teenager at this point,
Wow.
obviously. But yeah, she found out I lost my virginity because she read my journal.
Oh my gosh. Did you feel
Yeah.
like upset?
I wasn't upset. I was just kind of like I've always been like a private person that comes with the quietness. And again, like I feel like it stems back to, just certain things that happened in my life. But I've always been a private person, so when she did that, I wasn't really like upset with her, but it just told me that I have to be even more like I became even more private,
Oh.
with um especially like my parents. I would say nowadays like I try to be a little bit more open. But yeah, because of that situation and, so on and so forth, it kind of just told me, okay, I gotta like get better at hiding. Hmm.
Wow, man. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just saying this because I'm like, I don't know. I always think about like when I have my kid, like when I hear certain things, even when I think of what affected me as a kid, and like I don't know, I just always want to be this perfect parent that don't like, because I'm sure your mom at the time didn't really think about how that would have affected you, and stuff like that. So I'm just like, but dang, it sure did. It did the opposite effect of what So yeah,
Yeah.
that's so wow, wow.
Yeah. Ultimately, of course, I'm happy that she took the steps to, take me to the gynecologist, put me on birth control, because, as kids, as teenagers, like we're reckless.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, she could have asked.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
but
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I've had some of those moments, which definitely has kind of like it sucks because it's something that stays in the back of my mind, when I'm
Mm.
writing, like how private is this? You know, but
Oh.
I'm also to the point now where it's like I don't even care. Go ahead, read
Okay.
it. Like
Okay. Progress.
yeah.
Progress. I'm about to say you don't have the actual, the locks now, the double, triple lock with the code.
No, not really.
Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
okay. Wow, good. I'm glad that didn't like stop you from writing, because that is still your way of expression, so that's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Wow, thanks for that, T. That's so wild. Okay. Okay, so how was the loss you losing your virginity? I'm just kidding. We're not gonna talk about that. Okay,
Underwhelming.
okay, all right. Nice. Now, all right. Take us to adolescence, Faith.
Okay, so Faith as a teenager was still the same, I would say, quiet, but very friendly. Like, I had a lot of friends and I was a goofy girl, like once you got to know me. But I didn't like to be the center of attention. In high school, for example, you have the jocks, the cheerleaders and all of that stuff. I was a cheerleader for a moment, but I still was not like in the scene like that. I was always in the group that was kind of to the side, just having a good time, just joking, laughing, like that kind of thing, the jokers, I guess you would say.
Mm.
Um, and I think my writing kind of slowed down a little bit during this time. Um, I guess it was just, life and everything like that. Um, But there was a pivotal moment where, like, even though I wasn't writing, I still felt supported, by the higher power, by God. Um, and I went through a time in adolescence where I felt like very alone. I was going through some transitions with close friends, and found that things weren't really meshing, and so yeah, I just felt like alone and kind of misunderstood. And again, I don't remember really writing too much during this time. I think it was kind of like sparse. I or more so like I would have my times where I would write, and then I would have my times where I wouldn't. But I do remember when I would write, like I would say that's when I really started writing poetry. Like during those moments where I was writing, it was no more, it was not so much like writing journaling. It was more so writing poetry.
Mm.
Um and looking back, like I find that interesting because one thing about my writing that I've noticed over the years is that when I write poetry, like I can be very metaphorical. I can like say something I'm saying something, but I'm using this to say it. I won't never say this though, um,
Mm.
up front, which is different from like other poets. You know, some people they write, in a narrative and they're just bearing their heart out and just, saying what it is. Me, not so much. It was very metaphorical. It was very dark. And so again, like there would be times where I wasn't writing, but when I was writing, I stopped like saying exactly how I felt and more so, I don't want to say disguising it, but like covering it with something else, with a metaphor or with a synonym. Nonetheless, the tone, the energy, and the feelings that I was feeling was still there, even though the explicit words weren't there. So yeah, there were light times, but then there were also, dark times as any teenager goes through. I was definitely a little emo and
Mm-hmm.
like
I
it
went through
is
that
what it
stage too.
yeah. Yeah, so uh that was faith as an adolescent, I would say.
Mm. Okay, so what made you like change was it because you decided to instead of doing journaling and journaling is like you just writing out your feelings and actually saying it? Is it you subconsciously knew, okay, I want poetry? Why did you change the style? Why did or was that even were you conscious of that or
No. I don't think
no?
I was really conscious of that. Of course, I've always been like a artsy girl. It kind of runs in my family a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think it was conscious. It just happened.
Wow. So just a part of your gift. Because that sounds really cool. Like the fact that you just do that like unconsciously.
Hmm.
That's like the artist like kind of thing
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
that artist. Okay. And what else did I want to say? Frick. Oh, I just randomly got. Were you the type of person that wrote poems to people?
Mm, as I'm older now, kind of, yeah, more so, but as a teenager, no.
Yeah, so that was like your hidden talent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't know anyone who did poetry
Um,
or wrote?
not really. Like people, I would say, for like birthdays, I would like make cards for my parents and write like a little poem, a
Hmm.
little something something, or maybe during like I remember a time, this was maybe like in middle school, so I wasn't like, you know, high in my teenage years, but there was a moment, I remember I have a memory of being in school and like um it was a half a day or something. So on half a days you don't really do work like that.
Hmm.
And there was this like school aide who was watching a bunch of kids and
Hmm.
I remember all the girls liked him. And he had us do an assignment where we wrote a story. And I remember writing a story, and he was like, "Oh wow, this is really good. Like, I like it, and I just felt seen in that moment.
Hmm.
So people didn't really know that I wrote unless I was okay with them knowing that I wrote.
Hmm. Wow. That's so wild. It's even wild that you didn't even have friends. Like your friends didn't even know about that part of you.
Yeah. Not I wasn't very vocal about it.
Got it.
There was very, very few who like knew,
Yeah.
but um not really. There was actually someone I met through like Tumblr during this
Oh, the
time. And I
Tumblr
was
day.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
posted some poetry and they like we became friends through that. But like actual friends
oh,
in my life didn't really know too much.
oh, that's pretty special. So you did have a Tumblr page.
Hmm. Yeah,
Wow. Oh my gosh,
I
Tumblr.
know.
Those days. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. 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 All right. Now, adult faith.
Adult
Right
faith.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. This is such a long stage when you think about it too.
Right? Yeah, that's
Mm.
what I was like. I was saying adult, but then that's what I said right now because I'm like that could. I mean, you can take if there was anything that stood out at a certain point through your adulthood up until
Mhm.
now.
In my adulthood, I definitely grew more into, being vocal and writing. I actually we're still friends. Have a friend who is into poetry as well. So like in college, we went through college together, with, getting our degrees in English, poetry, all that. And even our masters, we did our masters together, getting our poetry, getting our degree, and um, so yeah, I would say just going through that process, especially going through school that way and being in focusing on writing in such a disciplined manner, like really help, and just being surrounded by that really helped me be more vocal about me writing and also a little bit more confident in that way. Um, I think with me being vocal in that way, I've also been on a journey of being vocal in general, being more vocal in general. 'Cause, like I said, I've always just been very quiet. And yeah, I think also in regards to my writing, I'm trying not to write so much in metaphors now. I'm trying to just kind of just say what I want to say or like have a balance of both. In my adulthood, I've also shared my writing more with people, of course, people within the program, the college, all that, but even my friends, family. So yeah, I have been more vocal with that. I've also been trying though to get back into journaling because that's something, that fell off pretty much around teenage years. And it's really important, like you can do all the poetry that you want. Um, but again, especially for someone like me, like I'm not really writing about what I want to write up. Like it's disguised.
Mm.
And so, I've found that like it's important that I journal. There was a time in my adulthood, actually like a couple years ago, maybe like 2, 3 years ago, where I was going through a tough time and I was actually speaking to a therapist and she actually like kind of reminded me of journaling and pushed me to get back into it. And so I did, and it definitely helped me during that time. And this is kind of going back to your previous question, but like the reason why I feel like it's so important for me to journal is because with me growing up being quiet, like I've also been kind of like a people pleaser. And um, as an adult now, and through this transition of being more vocal, expressing how I feel, I realized that I didn't even know how I felt because I went so many years like not really asking myself, not really like keying into those type of things. I was kind of just like on people pleasing mode and surviving mode and just being wanting to be liked mode, So I was focused on others rather than like really taking the time to focus on myself. And so journaling has been one of my top priorities now, as an adult. Poetry, of course, still is. Um, But I found that like I kind of had to take a after getting my master's in it and everything, I've had to kind of like take a break and like stop with all the fancy words and all the patterns and all the writing and kind of just be still and speak plainly with myself so that I can get better at speaking plainly with others. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, faith as an adult is definitely transforming, definitely becoming more vocal, working through not being afraid to be seen, um, and yeah, more in tune with myself for sure.
mm, okay. Nice. Nice. I love it. Okay, so speaking of expressing yourself and talking about what's in here, what's in the heart and all of that stuff, which I feel like is just going to be on an additive to everything. What is your topic today that you would like to present?
Well, the topic for today that I wanted to talk about is precisely writing poetry, um, for like re reflection and also for like manifestation. And it's not just to reflect on your past, but also to provide a way to your future. Yeah.
Mm, okay, love, love. So, do you have any yeah, so tell us more.
Well, okay. I want to premise by saying that for a long time, I knew that one of my assignments in life was to overcome, my insecurities and overcome um not having a voice, or not using my voice, so that in turn I can help others who, have gone through similar things or who just don't recognize that their voice is important as well. And that's something I bring with me in my work, especially as a tutor, because I tutor college students. And in college, this is a time where their brains are expanding. Um, you're no longer writing about book reports. The professors are asking you what you think about this topic, and you have to explain yourself clearly and in an organized way. So yeah, that's something I carry with me as a tutor, but just in general, I'm very passionate about um pushing people to write, to journal. If you don't write poetry, write a story, whatever, write a song, or just again, plainly just journal and write. I'm very passionate about that because it's very healing. Um, and everyone needs outlets to get out, not just thoughts and feelings, but like energy.
Mm,
So yeah, I'm just really, it's something I'm really passionate about.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it truly it is yeah, it's something that I realized was very important. And I think for me, I had to learn because I'm in like I'm not a naturally act. I'm a little opposite from you when it comes to like if I have something to say, I'm gonna say it. And yes, in parts that's good, but that's got me in trouble a lot because it's important to take that pause so you can figure out what you like. It's like a dump. So for me, like journaling helped me to, yeah, like word vomit everything that I needed to say because I do need to get it out, right? And that's always what I said. I'm like, but I have to get it out. If I don't, it's just gonna feel just not good, right? But you
Yeah.
don't think, but you realize that you know you can, like you said, you can get it out in different ways that are
Mhm.
healthy and that doesn't cause us problems or anything like that. I'm just thinking back at the time where I got my mom told me how disrespectful I was because I said, "Mom, I'm just speaking the truth, okay? You can't." But yeah, if I had a journal, yeah, that would have been good, and then I could have, So yeah, I do think it's good. So I guess I want to ask you. Like, what is your before we go into your event, like what are your beginner tips for people who never done that or like is like oh like journaling or whatever?
Yeah, and you know what? Like you bring up such a good point. Like I'm coming from the perspective of like not really knowing what I felt and not really expressing myself. So therefore I'm writing to get that out. But there's also that side of people where people are not afraid to express themselves. Um they know exactly what they feel, but sometimes you still have to process it.
Yes.
You know, you can be on on that side where you're not processing your feelings and therefore you're not saying anything. And then the other side where you're not really processing your feelings and therefore you're blowing up. You know, it's there's a spectrum. But at the end of the day, like writing is a tool that's so important because it helps you um because it helps you
Happens.
sorry, I thought I saw a flyer or something flying around.
Oh.
Um Um, but yeah, writing is such an important tool because no matter where you are on that spectrum, like it just helps you to process your thoughts. And so if you find that, okay, you know, this is something I need to express, like you're able to do it in an organized manner. And also sometimes feelings are fleeting. You
Yes.
know, we can feel the feelings and we can recognize them and process them, but they're fleeting. And sometimes we don't always need to spend so much time like stuck in them, you know,
Yeah.
and having other people feel that as well. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
for
yeah,
someone who what
go
happened?
ahead.
Okay, for someone who doesn't really write, and this is coming from someone who is a writer, writing is hard.
Wow, good to
Writing is
know.
hard.
Okay.
Especially writing poetry, it's been a minute since I wrote poetry, I'm not gonna lie. Journaling, I have to be very disciplined with it, and it's something I do more often. Writing is hard. So one of the first things I would say that really help is having a journal prompt. You can literally Google one, you know, and it'll at least give you a question to think about. It'll at least give you something to reflect on. So that would be definitely be my number one. Um, I do recommend people write on paper, um, and with a pen or like I have a Kindle and it's like it's still that physical thing. Typing is okay, and if you find that it's more comfortable for you, go ahead and do that. But there's something that happens like cognitively with your brain and with your body when you're writing. There's a whole process that happens. So that's another recommendation that I have. Um, and honestly, if you don't want to go to a prompt or anything, just ask yourself, just write about your day. Sometimes I do that, you know, just say, you know, today I hung out with this person, and I think as you go on, like things will come up, you know. But those are like three little tips that I have just off the top of my head of, you know, ways to like kind of like push yourself to write. Also, put a timer for 5 minutes, you know, put a timer for 5 minutes. That's all you need. Um, so yeah, and just be disciplined. Like they say patience is a virtue, but discipline is really a virtue as well because it's just like patience. It's really hard to have sometimes. Um, but yeah, those are my like 3 or 4 tips that I have.
Mm, okay, okay. Yeah, that sounds, yeah, the timer one is good for me, especially when yeah, I'm always like there's something around like putting timers for things that feel like a big deal. And then when I do it, it like gives me a time frame because sometimes I'm just like, ah, but I don't know. So I like the timer. Yeah, I would totally say that for sure.
That's how
Okay.
I feel like in regards to meditating. Because, I've shared with you, like, I used to meditate a lot more, but that's something I'm trying to like get back to. And meditating is also being still is so hard as well. So
Mm,
I literally do like I do with my writing, I do the same thing with the meditation, like at least put it on for 5 minutes
yeah.
and just do it.
Yeah. Just do it and realize it's a form of self-care, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, Faith, is going to be actually hosting poetry, or you'll talk more about it, but you're going to be hosting an event at Healthy People Healing in the Healthy People Healing community. So share with us more about that.
Yeah, so I will be hosting my very first poetry workshop. Yeah, it's my very first poetry workshop.
Oh.
Um, and it's to bring in the new year, but it's also just to provide people with a time to reflect, and envision what they want going forward. It's the holidays, it's busy, it's crazy. And a lot of times you're focused on other people, family, friends, Black Friday, material things. So, I want to just provide a time for people to to reflect and to have that moment. The workshop will be called Passageways. And it's again a poetry workshop for of reflection and vision. And in this poetry workshop, we'll be reflecting on this year, on stuff that happened this year, on feelings that came up this year, on challenges that came up this year, and on blessings that came this year, as well as things that you overcame this year. It's just going to be a full-blown kind of like reflection on this year. Um, we'll also be reflecting on or envisioning what we want to bring with us to the next year. Whether it's certain thoughts we want to let go of, whether it's new habits that we want to continue, um, whether it's certain relationships that we want to let go of or pour more into. Um, and I also just want to note too, I know for some people, and I definitely, I would say like would agree as well. But I know for some people, they don't recognize the December going into January as being the new year. There's some people who recognize spring being the beginning or like that's the time where things start growing again. Right now it's like kind of the dead season. Everything's dying. It's time to hibernate. And like I said, like I agree with that as well. So I do want to say that it's also just you also don't have to look at it as like a New Year's resolution or anything like that, or you're doing vision boards or anything like that. But just as a time to just again reflect. We in this world, in this society, we don't have enough time to do that. We don't. So yeah, I just want to provide that for people. And I mentioned vision boards, I mentioned New Year's resolutions, And those are great. Um, but especially with New Year's resolutions, it's often something you just say. With vision boards, you know, you're finding images, you're finding phrases that are already materialized, that are already there, and you're just putting them together. And that's not to say that, those aren't helpful and they don't work. They definitely do. Um, because all you really need is that energy and that faith, to bring something into fruition. Um, but there's something very visceral when it comes to writing. And then you're taking it a next step when it comes to poetry. Like I explained before, when you're writing, there's something cognitively I hope that's a word, but there's something that's happening um, when you're physically writing instead of just saying something. You're using multiple senses, and it triggers your memory. It triggers your brain connectivity and your learning. Like it just emphasizes everything, all your senses, all your, cognitive abilities, all of that. Um, and then when you're writing poetry, like you have to be so, it's like writing a story or writing a play. Like you have to be so meticulous. You have to have a lot of intention. And so I think even if you're not a writer, even if you're not a poet, like using the vehicle of poetry can help you just bring even more energy to those reflections, and but most importantly to what you want, to what you're envisioning. So yeah, that's the plan for this poetry workshop. Um, and yeah, all in all, like I said, I just want it to be a time for people to acknowledge the passageways that we've gone through this year and what's to come next.
I love that. I love the title. And
Yeah.
I love the whole ideals because I do think it's very much, it brings more intention when you do actually write out everything that you want. Also, I wanted to ask you, why do you think it's important to reflect?
If you're not analyzing what has been, it's very easy to just, it's very easy for what has been to continue to be the same thing.
Mm,
Um, if you're not reflecting, are you really learning lessons? Are you really practicing gratitude? Are you really closing doors? And that's all necessary in order for new doors to open for you. So reflecting is extremely important. Of course, you don't want to get stuck in the past, but yeah, like reflecting is super important. How can you move forward if you haven't acknowledged what has been? So,
hmm. Very, very true. Yeah, I totally, you took the words out of my like thoughts of like, yeah, exactly. And also, it provides that pause that we don't like get to do. And it's important to pause, like you said, so we can like figure out like, okay, how does this feel? How did that feel? Do we like that? Do we want to continue with that? Do we want to leave that? It helps us come back to self of and yeah, figuring out like, okay, what was good instead of just being on autopilot. And
yeah.
then you're just like,
Yeah. And like I said, in this society, like I think a lot of people are on autopilot.
mm,
That's a whole other conversation.
mm-hmm,
But
yeah.
but yeah, even in order for other things in our society to change, like We
Mm.
have to stop getting out of that autopilot and reflect and,
Mm.
it's the same behavior. But none
Mhm.
of that can happen if individually with yourself, you're not doing it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's like that whole meme. I don't know if you remember. It's the meme that's like, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn. Have you heard that meme? Okay, maybe not.
I don't
But
know.
it was like, wait a damn. I forget who it was, but it's like, yeah, when you stop and you reflect, you like, wait, what happened? How I've been feeling like this, and then you get to feel your feelings. There
Hmm.
we go.
Yeah.
Yes. So important, those things, once again, if you're on autopilot, you're kind of like numb, you're just like literally just living life. You don't really feel. And then, yeah, when you are writing, it does, you're right. Like stuff comes up. Even once again, for someone who doesn't like it, when I started to do it, I was surprised by the stuff that was coming up afterwards. After I got over the hunch of like, I have to do this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Which is not stupid, but in the back of my, if you don't do it often, you're like writing, like
Yeah. It's to the point where you're like, man, my hand hurts because I'm writing so much, but it's like I can't stop writing.
yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. So yeah, this is good. This is great. And like you said before, what you started off as saying, yes, a lot of our attention is focused externally during this time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do need to take a moment through this transition. Even when we think of the winter solstice, of those who believe in that, of
Hmm.
like it is a time of transition. So yeah, you do want to reflect and give your and give some focus on like where you are right now until you transition into the next time period. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to say or add?
Just that again, like you don't have to be a writer. It's actually better if you're not a writer because be prepared to be surprised. Be prepared to surprise yourself, you know. Yeah, so that's all. Writers are welcome too, but anyone can do it and don't get scared by the word poetry. Like the beautiful thing about poetry is that you can't do it wrong. You can't do it wrong, you know. The punctuation can be off. The grammar could be off because it's an art piece and it can be it's subjective, and yeah, it's just I think poetry is like one of the most freest actually mediums to write rather than writing fiction or plays or anything like that where you have to have guidelines. So don't be bypass the fear and surprise yourself. Do something new.
Well, I'm signing up. So like, okay, before we get into the astrology part, I will have one last question. I just need you to just like let me know like what is it about poetry that you like?
The feeling,
Mm.
the feeling. I feel like everyone has had that moment where you read a poem or something and there's a feeling that's attached to it, you know. There's a recognition and a um what's it called? Like there's something that's recognizable within that poem. It's so relatable. Poetry's so relatable. And it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just beautiful to me. But yeah, the one thing I love about poetry is like with all art, how feelings and tones that someone expresses can be felt by an observer without even knowing the person. There's just a recognition and there's just a connection there.
Mm, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll chill out on my questions because I can go on and on and on. So Faith is a Libra rising. You're Aries Sun in the seventh house, and you are a Pisces Moon in the sixth house. Okay, and then for Sag season, we'll talk a little bit about that, but I'm just gonna kind of merge everything that you said. So it's just, it was surprising to me to hear that you are a Aries Sun because Aries is literally about, and I told you this, is literally it's about like the sign of self-expression. Like it's like, so for me, I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you literally, for a lot of your life, your identity quite literally was like hidden? Like, did anybody even know the real you for so long? Because I just feel like expressing yourself is you.
Hmm.
Do you feel
Yeah,
that way?
I do feel that way. When I was younger, I had friends who like I knew all their drama, all a lot about their lives, and they didn't really know anything about me or, what I've been through and stuff. And I think I still held the qualities of a leader, but I was just very quiet about it. So
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of like when I tell people I'm a Pisces moon, like it's the Pisces moon is understandable.
yes.
Me being a poet, me all emo and stuff like that's understandable. That's understandable. But yes, the Aries part of me, like you don't really see that side, and people in my life haven't really seen that side
Mhm.
unless they're around me a lot
Mm,
or like know me. Yeah.
mm-hmm. And yeah, so yeah, and so I guess I would say the more that you continue to express yourself and be that version of you, be fully, whole. It's literally like you becoming whole into yourself and like being able to shine, yeah, like your light and feeling like you said, like it's safe to shine your light, which a lot of us, myself included, is even still once again it's like living in your full like authenticity, and it is, I can see the difficulty or how it's been difficult for you because once again what we've talked about, you have a Libra rising opposite from your sun sign. Libra is very can be, let people pleasing, but then somebody kind of told me like it's not necessarily well, they changed it. They said like people pleasing is not, it's not necessarily a bad thing because you're just considerate of others, right?
Yeah.
But when you're doing it with people who are not considerate of you or like not giving you the same, then it's imbalance. And then yeah, that's where the pleasing is because you're being considerate around people who are not, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. I think also being a Pisces too, like I'm just very aware of other people's like energies and emotions. So
Yes.
like I'm just always like just
You can
tuned
sense
into
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is double of like, oh yeah, like let me make sure that I like talk this way or I be this way or I do this or I want to make them feel, so it's that. So for you, I think your life is gonna be because you don't want to shun the Libra part. I love Libra rising. Like Libra rising is literally like me once again being an Aries moon. And you don't even, well, I don't know if I've shared this, but like my North Node energy is in Libra, which means I'm here to learn how to actually like
Mhm.
relate to others and be considerate of others and be able to be in partnership and all of that. Like those are but Aries can be like more sometimes more independent. For you though, it's different because you have those polarities. But the point is
Yeah.
you are learning how to balance. Like it's not like you want to delete the parts of you because that is very like a good thing for you to be able to have all those like that Libra energy of like quite honestly, yeah, your whole, since you're Libra rising, your life is around how you balance and like
Yeah,
how you are in relation to others. So
yeah,
that's
definitely,
yeah. So it's
definitely.
like that's what you will learn as you get older. As you're learning now, but you know what I mean? Like that's your like if it feels like that, like you were always trying to balance of like your independence versus the then being with others and expressing yourself but also being considerate of others, like that is a whole dance that you will kind of be on within your life path until you kind of just like learn how to do it or just feel your way through it intuitively. I feel with that Pisces moon.
Mm.
Does that like make sense?
No, yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think now as I'm, becoming more vocal and stuff, that's been something I've had to learn, like when to do it, when to, it's kind of like what we talked about before, like how journaling helps you process your emotions, and then you can decide whether it's something that you need to share or not. I
Mm,
think that now that I'm less in the mind frame of like what I feel and I don't know what I feel, and more in the mind frame like, okay, I'm I I'm feeling these feelings, you know, I have to still find a balance with that, and still take other people into account, not just be like, oh, I'm sharing my voice loud and proud and you're gonna like what I have to say, or that type of thing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely always a balance when it comes to others and relationships. And also too, like, I'm the type of person who, like, I love being around people. I love my friends, but also like I love being by myself, and you know, I don't have to see you. Type of
Yeah,
thing,
no, for real, because I was actually, you took, once again, I was literally about to say that. I was gonna say with your Aries sun being in the seventh house, it is you, goodness, your whole, once again, Libra rising, seventh house, literally like life stuff is all about like relating like the partnership, like once again
Mhm.
friendship, relationship, how you relate to
Mhm.
others, one-to-one conversations and connections is your whole theme. But uh since you have Aries and your sun in this ruling your seventh house, it's about like being around you relate better to people, or being, yeah, people who let you, or who respect that, who all are like independent,
Yeah, yeah,
like yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I think, and that's why I've had friends who have lasted like so many years, because we have that understanding. Like we don't have to, you know, we don't have to see each other. We don't even have to text like every day. But when you and that person do get together, there's that feeling that's undeniable, and that's the that's the bond.
Yes.
That's the understanding. That's the understanding between the two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and also like people who like I just heard like you need to be around people who like is about it, like getting done, like doing, I that's another thing of like that Aries of like is that like do like wanting to do the things that you're passionate about and
Hmm.
like being around people who are doing that, which I feel like is probably why we connect really well because I like my moon sign will be like if I was merging, because if I when I do like partnership readings, I literally like pair the people, so you will see the overlay, you'll see your energy internally and then you'll see the other person's, and then you'll see how it go like what the person's energy, where it is and how it relates and how does it
Hmm.
square it, or does it, we see these like whatever. So if I were to overlay ours, my moon would be in your seventh house, which means like the way that I express or my feelings, is like very, it like helps you, like it aligns with that like Aries, because it is about like, hey, we want to do it, or you feel that
Yeah.
way, okay, let's like get it, like this, that, you know. So
Yes,
that you need to be around people like that too, who is more like assertive and like, you know, because it helps, it is like it helps you to like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Ever since I was younger, I always loved people who were who were such characters, who were so boisterous, who were not afraid, and I think even to this day, like that's something that I admire in a lot of the my friends and the people in my life. And I think I'm at a point now where it's like stop admiration and you take incentive. Like incentive is a big word that's been coming up, that I'm trying to incorporate more in my life. Just like you take the steps, you be bold, type of thing. But yeah, I
mm-hmm.
love I love people like that because I
Yeah.
admire there's just certain aspects in other people that we admire because it's just like what you said, we bring it out of each other and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and once again, yeah, if you're around that, which is like you should be around people. I mean, your once again, your seventh house is lit. I mean, your sun is in the seventh house, so you actually is good for you. But just like you expressed, even when you said like you had your friend, you're with your friend, who you guys went into college together, that actually helped you to like grow into like, you know, being outward or with your poetry, or you know, kind of how you said that exactly,
Yeah.
like you being around more people like that will then help you to shine more, you know, that literally is so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. um Okay, so yeah, so that is a little bit about that. But once again, obviously, we talk, you know, I always talk about the good things, but yes, with the Aries, you know, there can be the impatience. There could be the, like, yeah, expressing, but not in the nice way, you know, like it could be a little hot-headed sometimes, and all of that. So definitely needing to learn how to, like, be like mindful of that part as well. And then we get to, yeah, your Pisces moon, which once again, yes, very intuitive, very artsy, very creative, definitely dreamy, like very big poet energy for sure, for sure. Um and it is interesting that you say like how you express yourself, or how you like write even your poetry, is like you're saying things without really saying it, which I guess in a way for me that's like dope. Like I kind of like that, because I was even thinking like, because I when I think of a lot of the poets that I know are like, I do like a, it's like when you look at a painting and the painting is not just like of a house and a dog or something, like yes, you know what that is, but it's those paintings that make you turn your head and be like, hmm, you know, like
Yeah.
that you really gotta like sit there and interpret, you know, and it is really cool. I know when I think back to like certain things, I would like try to guess what it was, and then I would read the little caption next to the painting. And then something, if I like got something about it right, I would be like, yes, like I was able to like interpret like what it was. So I kind of think of that as your poetry of like, I don't know, like you kind of saying or writing it in the ways that you write it abstractly or whatever, but then the title is like what it is or something. Like the title is
Hmm.
the actual like truth or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. When you were saying when you were talking, I thought of it's that subtext that what's being said without it being said. And like there's something that's kind of like sexy about that.
Right? That's
And
it, exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, I like the mystery. I like, ooh, tell me without telling me. Cause anybody could just say it, but someone who could just weave you through, like, it
hmm
is sexy.
hmm
So I think that's
hmm
good if you're doing it on purpose. But obviously it's good to play with both, of course, if you want to
Yeah.
make sure you're able to like express yourself and stuff like that. But I do think that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and for you, once again, with you being your moon in the sixth house, is literally like you. like you have this like feeling and desire to connect it to like helping others. Like and also there's a connect like I don't know if this is gonna come up for you later. I mean, we have talked about this like health and also when
Mm.
it comes to like you said didn't we talk about like women something or something around like the woman body or the body or did we talk about that?
We might have. I mean, I know we talked about like just the cycle that
Yeah.
women go through and
Yeah,
being in
just
tune
like
with that
huh?
and being in tune with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I do feel like you helping people express themselves through poetry, like that is kind of like wanting to like that is your way of like serving or like helping others that like aligns, you
Mm.
know? It's like because the sixth house is about service. It's like the work that you do and the spaces that you're at, but because it's themed by Pisces and that is like there needs to be some sort of spiritual depth like dreaminess connection to it so that like literally aligns and it's like yeah it definitely see you like I've already told you like doing stuff with that so it aligns that
Mhm.
you're even yeah starting here so
Yep.
obviously you have so many other things in there but that's what we're gonna like focus on of the moon sign and like once again probably like feeling like you want to help people often. But yeah, like once again, having be discerning of all that and who
Yeah.
you give and all that, like we've talked about as well. So,
Mhm.
so yeah. And then lastly, I want to go to just the transiting energy right now. So if we go down here, we see all this packed energy happening in your third house.
Mm.
And that is so we're in Sagittarius season right now. And you are going to yeah, so it's pretty much you have your Jupiter in there, you have your Pluto in there, and you Sagittarius ruling your third house is like speaking your truth. And once again, your Jupiter, your sign of like where you receive the most abundance and like joy and all that stuff. Honestly, a way that I learned about Jupiter is it's like where you receive the most joy, but sometimes you forget of like you take advantage of it. Like you
Mm.
forget because it's like something so natural to you. It comes so easy for you to be able to write and express. Sometimes you
Mhm.
have to remember like go back to like that is where you shine like that is your joy. That's where you receive the abundance of reminding. So it's funny how in Sag season, you know, you are gonna be like now, and then also Jupiter is the teacher energy, so it makes sense that you're able to like teach. It just
Mm.
seems like your path, which you're already kind of getting to, but it's gonna be to help people to express themselves through the poetry. And then the expression is gonna come through some truth that they have kept secret, like kept down to them
Mm.
because of maybe they weren't able to like really be truthful or they got shunned for it because of their different beliefs or just certain things like that because Sag is connected to like beliefs. So that's why I do feel like even the whole like religious, you know, religion and like that's gonna come out in
Yeah.
some way at some point. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So so yeah, very aligned. So that's just more reason why you should definitely come because the astrology literally says that she's the best for this. So the astrology doesn't lie.
I'm meant
That's
to do this, guys.
huh?
I said I'm meant to do this.
Right, exactly. Hello. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so anyways, we can go on and on about it, but pretty much that aligns perfectly your story. And yeah, you were literally meant to live kind of through that experience of, you know, your life and like being the quiet one, but then having to go through your life and learn how to like express yourself and now it is time for you to kind of like it's like higher power God is like now's the time to like share and help others like you know use that little that gift which so wild to think that you were just like writing those poems and nobody would like if I knew you back then I would be like so I like That seems so cool. Like, I just feel like, man, the secret people with these like hidden talents that are just in their rooms just doing things. I'm just like, and people don't know that, and they don't even know how beautiful that is, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm excited for you. It's the point of me rambling on and on.
Get through your fear and convince yourself to show up. Push yourself to show up. Yeah, so December 29th is
Yes.
when we'll be having this poetry workshop. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, if you hear this, you see this, and you're excited for it, that's great. Come. But again, if this is unfamiliar territory to you, if you get that little flutter of like fear, then definitely come because oftentimes before a breakthrough, um, there's that fear, there's that worry, there's that distraction, or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it and I'm looking forward to just spending that time with, everyone who shows up and yeah, just sharing that time of reflection and self-love and yeah, all the good stuff. All the good stuff.
Self-love. Okay. Sorry, I promise. Last question. Okay.
Yeah.
What final message do you have for who struggle to speak their truth and to express themselves?
Hmm.
What would you even tell like your younger self or something?
Um, you're you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're hurting yourself more, keeping it in. Keeping it in. This is coming from someone who, I developed like an autoimmune disease. Um, and I believe it was from all those years of just holding it in, and you have so much to give to the world, so you're really doing a disservice to yourself and the people who you love, um, hiding and keeping it in.
Mm. That was that moon, that Pisces moon talking, because I got a little, yes, 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 Faith. Oof. Okay. All right. We'll see you all there. Thank you, Faith.
Of
Have a good
course.
night.
Good
Or do
night.
we, or are you good? Are we good? Do we need, okay, we're close. That was a close. Okay.